This is very intriguing.
Yeah.
LSU going to Missouri. Missouri's getting 6.5 points, and the total is 63.5. Now, I will issue a disclaimer to those of you watching and listening. We're recording this a little bit earlier than usual because I've got to go to my kids' football game on Wednesday afternoon. So these lines may have changed slightly since we did the show. But
yes,
if I'm looking at this right now, Jeff, I'm taking the over for sure because I've watched LSU play pass defense, and I've seen Brady Cook and Luther Burden, and I'm feeling pretty good about Missouri.
Yeah. And another reminder, because I do dabble in the wagering community very often for some of my jobs. You don't have to bet on every game. Like these are we're picking the big games every week. You know, I might have an opinion on all of these, but I do have an opinion on Missouri here getting 6.5 points. I don't really understand how LSU is getting stops in this game, right? Like I get a home team getting 6.5 points. I'm going to pull this up right now. LSU's defense right now is 121st in points per drive on defense. 121st. Their explosive play rate is 127th on defense. And I get an offense in Missouri that can score with wide receivers. Yeah, the total might hit. I'm with you on the over, but I mean, a home team in a conference game where, you know, everyone looks at LSU, I think still is a big dog program, right?
Yeah.
And so they're going to be fired up. They're going to be ready. They're going to want to win the game, which is important, I think, you know, the way you come out and start the game. But also, LSU cannot stop a nosebleed. They can't do that. And so I just don't really think that we're going to have a situation where this game falls with LSU winning by 7 points or more.
Yeah, and the over I say because I don't know that Missouri is going to be able to stop LSU very consistently either because Jayden Daniels and Malik Neighbors and you know Brian Thomas, like those guys are awesome. Really, you saw them against Ole Miss last week. So I think this is going to be a very high scoring game, and that's a lot of points to be given Missouri. And I think you're right. LSU is still one of those programs when they stroll into your stadium, everybody gets up for them.
Yes, absolutely. I think that plays a role in some of these games. We've also seen this year that you know, ranked opponents have just not played as well on the road outside of really Nebraska. Michigan murdering Nebraska. You know, they've started slower. They haven't played as well. It's just hard to play road games, man. I'm not saying that, you know, obviously we've seen road teams win, but it's just hard. It's hard to be on the road. It's hard to play these road games. And I think that's also a factor in how you look at some of these games is like being, you know, on the road. I think this is, you know, they lost to Ole Miss last weekend, I should say, on the road. It's just playing on the road's hard, man. It just is. And I think that plays a role in wanting me to take on taking the points here.
Well, yeah. And people, you can say, oh, Missouri doesn't have the same atmosphere as say a Tennessee or a Florida, but I've been to Missouri when they've been really good, when they had Chase Daniel, when they could beat teams that were ranked in the top 10. Like that place gets loud. That place gets exciting. It's not like it's just going to be sleepy the whole time. They will get loud. And Ole Miss is not a place that's an especially terrifying road environment. But as you just mentioned, LSU went up there and lost last week. So you're exactly right. The home road thing matters. I mean, you tell me, you played in the NFL for a long time. It feels like it matters a lot more in college. Than
Absolutely.
It does in
the NFL. Yeah. Well, there's a couple reasons for that. One is that, you know, college football is played with 18 and 22-year-olds, right? They're highly emotional. You know, there's a lot of look ahead factor in college football where you look at the schedule and you say, okay, look, you know, I'm circling these wins. I mean, I'm sure you remember that, right? You get the schedule, you're like, okay, I'm winning these 8 games, right? And, you know, the game in between is, you know, 2 big opponents, the one we're kind of down for. That's why it's emotions. And plus, college football fans are louder. The stadiums are louder. There's more people in the stadiums. The biggest NFL stadium, I think Dallas can do that with 100,000. If they want to fill it up. And then I think, you know, weirdly enough, FedEx Field in DC seats like 92,000. It's a huge stadium.
Wow.
Well, you know, it's huge. I don't think people realize that. At least the way it used to be configured. You know, but you're getting 70,000, 65,000. You're not getting as many, and the fans are not as passionate. The stadiums aren't really built at times for noise and for loudness. And so it's a different crowd. And, you know, the more you play in the noise, the more you get used to playing in the noise. And so as the older, the more snaps you get, the less you're concerned about. And look, sounds silly, but you have more time, Andy, to work on things like the cadence, like snap counts, like hand signaling, all these things that you just don't have enough time to do in college football. I also think it really helps the NFL, the radio communications between the quarterback and coach. So you're not really worried about looking over for hand signals and then you screaming things out to your offense. You're in the huddle, you hear the play, you give there's more things that help in NFL to make that transition a little bit easier playing on the road.
Yeah, you heard that, college people. Let's get the radio in the helmet.
I think we should do that. It absolutely should be done. It's kind of silly it hasn't been done yet. I don't get why not. Everyone has the money to do that now. I think that was the holdup, right? It's like there wasn't enough money for that to happen. It's time. It's time, Andy.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing like the 3 big sheet panels behind the 3 guys to give them a background to signal against, and we don't need to see that anymore.
I'm with you.
It's over. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples on 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.